The Chicago Bears have kicked off the trade deadline day by trading Khalil Herbert to the Cincinnati Bengals. Was it the right move? Did the Bears make the right move? We're going to talk about all and more, but first, we got to play that intro.
Tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central and every social media platform we happen to be on. The thought process that is on everybody's mind right now is what the Chicago Bears are going to do at the trade deadline. And well, it kicked off early this morning, about 7:45 Chicago time, when the Bears officially traded Khalil Herbert to the Bengals for a 2025 seventh round draft pick. Now, this was much lower right now than what a lot of people thought the value for Khalil Herbert was going to be. I'm sorry, but this is a bad trade by Ryan Poles. And this is really kind of evident by Ryan Poles sitting on his hands for so long with this Khalil Herbert nonsense. Like, as the trade deadline got closer and was approaching, everybody knew that it made more sense for the Bears to trade Khalil Herbert. This is why that when the Bears signed DeAndre Swift, if they had the thought process that they were not going to maintain Khalil Herbert, he should have been moved. I get it where a lot of Bears fans have been saying, oh, but depth, but depth, but depth. All the depth in the world don't matter if you're not going to use them, right? The Bears should have struck while it was hot, while Khalil Herbert's value was going to be a little bit high. And to me, this is a fleecing. Khalil Herbert can be a beast, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. Like, it's not like Khalil Herbert cannot run the ball. He's a bad football player. He's not. And to get this type of value right now for Khalil Herbert at a time period where a lot of teams in the NFL have missed out or have lost their running backs, this is really bad asset management. And this is why I was in the thought process where a lot of people said, no, we got to keep Khalil because of depth. You got to strike while the value is high. It was clear that the Bears were going to move on from Khalil Herbert. You need to strike while value is high. Every day that goes by, that value gets less and less and less, and eventually gets to the point to where you're doing like this. So when you look at it, the Chicago Bears have now, within the calendar year, have traded Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert, two of their highest rushers over the last 3 years, and have gotten collectively a 5th and a 7th round pick out of that. A 5th and a 7th round pick out of that. That's what the Bears have gotten. Again, the way, and while I'm not as down on Ryan Poles as a lot of people are, it's how you manage your assets that's hugely important. This was a mismanagement of assets. This was a lack of foresight when it comes down to it. And now, when you look at it as well, we lost David Montgomery for nothing. We've lost Khalil Herbert for a 7th round pick. We lost Darnell Mooney for nothing. We lost Justin Fields for a 5th round pick. Like, the Bears right now have failed at every chance they have gotten to try to get some assets for anybody. And no, it's not about just being the market for running backs. Like, yes, the market is affected, but to get a 7th round pick for a running back that's been as productive as Khalil Herbert, we've seen running backs traded that have been less productive for Khalil Herbert and at least have gotten a 6th, right? That's a conditional 6, a conditional 7. I would have settled for a conditional 7, right? Give you some ability for that to be higher than when it comes down to that. I'm sorry. You get a running back too who can step in as a 1 at times. And yeah, it really sucks, man. It really sucks. Like, but you know, it is what it is. We're only getting a 6. You're right, because it's conditional. You're absolutely right for that. That's my fault. Shortcoming on that on my fault. Shout out to Brian for keeping me honest on that one. But yeah, man, it's just it leaves a lot to be desired. But I'm not going to sit here and bitch about the Khalil Herbert trade for this whole entire episode. It is what it is. The Bears have moved on. Khalil Herbert's gone. When the Bears gave Khalil Herbert permission to seek a trade, we knew that he was out of there. The next question is what else do the Chicago Bears do? What else do the Bears do at this point? Who are some other players that the Bears could move? And I got some candidates here that I know not everybody's going to agree with. But there are some players that the Bears still could move. And at the top of my list, I'm going to say this. I know that he was an acquisition. I know that he was recently added to this team, and I know that he's a veteran. What he's done over the course of his career, you cannot take away from. But the Bears should be shopping Keenan Allen at this trade deadline, in my opinion. You should be shopping him. At this point in time, despite what Keenan Allen has done in his career, he hasn't done it here. He hasn't been fully healthy at all. He hasn't been fully healthy. And overall, when you look at him, there's no chemistry there between him and Justin Fields. And Rome Odunze has passed Keenan Allen up. While I understand what Ryan Poles was getting at when he traded for Bobby's in the building.
What
What's
up,
going
though?
on, Bobby? My bad. Didn't have the
Nothing,
headphones
man.
on, my boy.
I know.
Uh
Finish cooking. I'm listening.
No, I was just saying, man, with Keenan Allen, to me, and what he's been here for the Chicago Bears, I get it. We gave up a fourth round pick, but at this point, where the Bears are in their season, for the wins that we have and everything, and Rome Odunze ascending, I think that the Bears should absolutely be shopping Keenan Allen, because I think there are definitely some teams that would be willing to take on the veteran and probably give us something decent for it. What do you think?
I think you're right on the money with it. If we go back and we look at these last few weeks, Keenan Allen has not been on. I mean,
Yeah.
outside of the one game in London, was it London? Yeah. Other than that, it's really been disappointing at the very least, because I could definitely go into more in depth. We talking about drop passes. We talking about the lack of separation. That could be some on Shane Waldron's scheme, but it's also on him as the player as well. And we seeing mistakes out of him. I'm like, damn, bro, you the vet, dude. We didn't bring you over here to drop a pass when we need to continue to move the chains, and we've been struggling already. A veteran like you, a guy with your talent, is supposed to help us continue to grow in that regard. And
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that was starting to get me to have the same idea as you that I was gonna bring up, but you brought it up. So shout out to you. I just don't think that. I think right now with the way that it's looking, you got to add a speed guy to this.
Yeah.
To your wide receiver core, because right now it's DJ Moore. He has speed, but he's not the guy that's gonna typically take the top off the defense like a speed of a DeAndre Carter. Like, because if you look at how DeAndre Carter fit in while Keenan was down, the offense looked, virtually the same, but it was much faster to me, and it gave defenses a different look that poses a threat for them. So yeah, I see where you're coming from, bro.
And I also think when it comes down to this as well, like we all knew or felt coming into the season, like with Ryan Poles' conversation and stuff, like it was a long shot for Keenan Allen to get an extension here, right? And I understand the Bears wanting to go out and add a weapon to make sure that their rookie quarterback had all the weapons in the world. But I look at it this way: the connection with Caleb Williams isn't really there. He hasn't been good. I'm not gonna say he's been terrible either, because the offense, he hasn't looked good overall. So I'm not gonna put that all on Keenan Allen. But like you said, the drop passes, things like that. And Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, they're the future of this team. Keenan Allen's not.
Right.
And honestly, if moving Keenan Allen could get you some depth for your offensive line, that's probably where you should go with this at this point, in my opinion.
I'm with you on that, and I look at it in this regard. The Chicago Bears on that 3-game winning streak look a lot better when it involved DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Rome Odunze ahead of Keenan Allen. Yes, Keenan Allen had that London game, but guys that were around him, they was eating. They still feature Cole Kmet in those games. So I'm with you, bro. I think that right now you got to say to hell with the chemistry, if there's any. It's not reflecting on the field. I don't care how good and how great y'all friends are in the locker room. We appreciate you. But at the end of the day, this is business, and it's a production-based business. And right now, it's just not looking too good. You got to do something. It has to reflect on the field.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, I know you came in after I got done ranting a little bit about it. How are you feeling about this, the Khalil Herbert trade?
Me personally, I don't really got much grievance in it when it comes to the trade, because I was the one that stood up here and said, hey, I'll keep him around just a little bit longer for the depth piece, unless you believe that Travis Homer can take over the reins. And with this result of not a great draft pick, you did get something. So I guess you get some points for that, but it's not a great draft pick. You probably find somebody in the 7th round and they end up on your practice squad. But this is what comes with it. And it adds on to the decision-making thoughts that people have on Ryan Poles. Maybe he's not moving fast enough, or he is moving too fast with some of his decisions. But these are the decisions. We gotta live with it. Hey, I think he gonna have a good rest of the year in Cincy though. I do.
Oh yeah, Khalil Herbert's gonna have a nice year, and Cincy is a nice team to watch. And I hate to say that, what are we once every 8 years we talk about the Bengals being a good team? Like the Bengals got a chance this year. And I'm glad that Khalil Herbert's gonna go to a team as well that he has a defined role. Like it was never about against Khalil Herbert as the player because we know Khalil Herbert can go. Like was he miscast as a one the last couple of years? Maybe. But as a second and as a part of a running back core, you can't deny that Khalil Herbert can absolutely shine. So he's going to have a lot of opportunity there in Cincy.
I agree with you. It's just that the schematics, and then when Ryan Poles went out and got DeAndre Swift, you just kind of knew what it was going to be, because you got your guy that can catch the pass out of the backfield and run the rock at a good level, and DeAndre Swift. And then sometimes you need that thumper. Khalil Herbert is not a thumper, so you had to. We kind of knew that the writing was on the wall.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, with that said, surprisingly, the Chicago Bears, we know that they had a couple of players on their trade block. One of those players is Nate Davis. Do you think that Nate Davis is moved before the trade deadline is over?
Are we swapping him for another offensive lineman? That's all. If we are, I can rock with that. But unfortunately, guys are dinged up. I understand that we don't like this guy. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, if I'm Ryan Post, can I swap him with another offensive lineman? I'll be at least trying to do that. Shit. But if you're going to trade him for another skill position piece, I don't really know if I would necessarily like that trade because of the injuries that's on your offensive line. Looks like you treated Nate Davis and kicked him to the doghouse. Now you got to go make up with him a little bit is what it's looking like.
Yeah, I think at this point, like if they trade Nate Davis, it's really going to be maybe they take on something back and the team is going to be cutting him next year to get that $8.5 million savings. But yeah, I don't see it like being anything huge getting or anything that's really super valuable getting anything back for Nate Davis. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Maybe Ryan Poles got some magic they can work. Maybe got some dirt on another team, and we'll see what happens there.
Call the Giants against. Do something.
I mean, listen, I know one team that ain't answering the Bears' calls no more. That's the Panthers. I would not be surprised if the Panthers may not make a trade with the Bears for the next decade, bro. They gonna be yeah, don't call us.
They don't even want to see the number come through. See each other at the owning meter. Virginia gonna be, we called you. Nah, you ain't called me. I never got it.
You're like, yeah, we ain't get none of that. Thank you very much. We ain't get none of that from you. You don't want to hear it. The Bears got a couple of assets that they can move. We got 2 seconds in this draft. We got a first, we got a third, a fifth, and 2 6. Now we got a 7th as well. Do you think the Bears end up making a big trade? I know Crimson, shout out to my brother Crimson in there, but I don't think that at this point the Bears trade either one of their second round picks because I don't think any move, at least that I can foresee, maybe Ryan Poles sees something different, that drastically changes the direction of this Bears team, but I could be wrong on that. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty much the same way. Said it a couple days ago. If I'm Ryan Poles, I'm looking at Matt Eberflus like, bruh, what more do you want? Like, I keep, you know what I'm saying? Yes, this team is not perfect. We already knew that coming into this season, but at the end of the day, coaches got to coach and players got to execute. I've been saying that for the last few weeks, and I got to hold everybody accountable. Now, if Ryan Poles is feeling like, hey, I can go out and get something because I'm still feeling like I'm in the season. Like I still feel like that Flus can do something. The staff can do something. Okay, fine. But I don't think it's one of those players that's out there that you should go get that requires a second round pick, even if you go get a defensive end. Because I don't really, me personally, if a trade comes through and it includes a defensive player at this moment in time, I ain't gonna be mad. But I'm not going to be too happy. I'll probably be like even keel with it. Like, okay, cool. It helps the team maybe. But what about Caleb? Your offense sucks.
Exactly.
Come on.
And I feel like the defense, if healthy, is in a good enough place that you need to focus on that offense. And Vern has a question here that's a really good one. Would y'all still go after Wyatt Teller? Yes, because reportedly Wyatt Teller can be gotten for a day 3 pick. A day 3 pick for Wyatt Teller? I'm cool with that. I have no qualms with that at all.
And go make it happen. Get on the phones.
Yeah.
If you like me, I ain't saying we know my man, he be cooking up some shit when he cook up. So if you can go out there, it'll be great if you can get 2. in the building for those later round picks. Your later
Yeah.
round picks haven't been panning out for you. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
The only one you can hang your hat on is Braxton Jones, and
Austin
yeah.
Booker, but we still haven't seen a lot of
Oh yeah,
Booker.
so yeah, that one too. So yeah, if you got to get rid of them late round picks for the sake of the team to get some offensive linemen in here that actually can do some things, get the job done. But Haize, last point, I don't trust Chris Morgan, bro.
That's
It's all
true.
out the window for him.
Yeah, he got to
It's all
go.
out the window
Yeah,
for
he
him.
got to go. He got to go. Crimson says Poles traded the second when they had 3 wins in 2000. That was a completely different situation. That at that point they were trying to evaluate Justin Fields, and they had no number 1 wide receiver, and they were hoping that getting Chase Claypool at that point in time was going to be able to add something to add to Darnell Mooney. Completely different situation. Now in 2023, when we had 2 wins, you were adding a surefire Pro Bowler that could be the anchor of what your defense did. And he came in and it was exactly that. And you had him in a long-term thing. At this point in time where the team is now, the youth that you could add, especially with having now your quarterback that the Bears have already shown that they are preparing for that extension and what that could look like, it's not the same situation. The thought process of, well, they did it before, so they're going to do it again in sports does not hold true. Every situation is completely different, and the complexities between those situations is what makes a big difference. And also, my brother, the trade deadline is actually 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern. But go ahead, Bobby. How you feel about that?
I mean, you take it for what it is. Like I said, I don't know if you're going to swing for the fences right now because I feel like we've seen this defense just hold other offenses, including the Washington offense, who's ranked at the top of the league, to virtually 12 points without the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
So I don't see it being a major issue to where you have to go say, let me risk draft capital to go get a Trey Hendrickson. Let me risk draft capital to go get a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. I never saw that. So this situation that's for this particular moment, it was always we're gonna move on with this draft capital into the draft. That's what my mindset was, and that's still kind of how I'm looking at it, unless you feel like the offensive lineman, some of these guys gotta go. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what that brings about. There's a lot right now. Team that's just like, so I don't know how much realistically fixed and how much it can make it better. But like if he's gonna take it, like the offensive lineman is where I would want to see him make the move because at that point it doesn't take the seconds. And you may need the seconds. Like, especially having 2 seconds, you can get 2 starting caliber offensive linemen in that case, right? So if you start this off with trading a day 3 pick or whatever and getting a vet that you can maybe be part of the future as well, and then you're adding some young guys to that, I think that's a good thing. But we'll see. Ultimately, I just want Poles, if he's gonna make a move, make something that makes this team better. I don't know if I see something that drastically ups the ceiling of this team, but we'll see what happens. We'll see.
How back to the Keenan one?
Yeah, because we got a question from Michael. He says, trade Keenan, you tweaking. What has Keenan Allen brought to this team? See, that's the thing that I think is sometimes as sports fans, we get caught up in the potential of something when you realize, like, at this point, having 3 wide receivers doesn't mean shit if we don't have protection for Caleb Williams to actually get the ball to one of them. But go ahead, Bobby.
For real, I'm with you on that. And I'm just feeling like the honeymoon is over, bro. The honeymoon was Hard Knocks. Week 1, the amazing comeback. This is that 10-year relationship where you spend more time at work instead of coming home. This is that moment right now. You don't know what you're gonna do. You don't know if you're gonna take counseling, anything. The situation needs to improve. And it's something that you gotta do. And you gotta say to hell with how people feel. You know what I'm saying? You already got a lot of guys in your locker room speaking out, but business is business. You got to handle business the right way. You got to put the emotions to the side. Keenan Allen, we know he's good, but we haven't seen consistent good from Keenan Allen this season. Yeah. And that's the problem.
Yeah, we haven't really seen really anything. So, we'll see what happens. I do see that what, them saying the compensatory pick, but like a compensatory pick is theoretical. If you can get something right now that's going to help your team right now, that's more valuable than a compensatory pick, in my opinion.
For sure. I say to hell with that.
It depends on what you
build something. And I think that one of the most important things is gonna have to be trying to build a winning culture. And that's gonna come with tough conversations and hard truths. And what the hard truth is that this team is mediocre. They 4-4. And they lost some games that they should have won, but they didn't. You got to hold guys accountable at some point. And Ryan Poles, for most part, he has shown to make solid decisions after a mistake. So I got to hold him to it. Let's see what's to it.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, this trade deadline is going to bring a lot of clarity exactly for how Ryan Poles views this. I think that's the way I've been viewing it. Like, if Ryan Poles still looks at this team and says, hey, this team still has a chance, and I believe this team can make some noise. Yeah, we're coming off 2-game losing streak, but we can still make some things. He'll be aggressive at the trade deadline. If it's more so, all right, this is kind of what we got. It may be a smaller move or no move. We'll see. There's a lot of things at his disposal that he can do, and we'll see what that brings about, man. But yeah, we'll see. Overall, today's going to be an exciting day, one way or another, because we're gonna know how this team is viewed, I think. And while we added a lot, shit. You may also Ryan Poles may also be like, listen, I ain't adding nothing else for Matt Eberflus bitch ass. That could be another thing that we could
for real, because you definitely could be hell with it. Because there's definitely a number of ways that you can go if Ryan Poles doesn't do anything at the deadline.
Yeah.
He say to hell with it. I want to see, okay, we put Justin Fields through the ringer, see if he can do something. Now let's put the head coach through the ringer. Because again, we've seen coaches do something with less. We seen it. We seen it. Good head coaches know how to get the best out of their players. But how many fucking hiccups we gonna continue to see from this coach?
That's a big fact. Great question here from Jared. I can't help wonder, could we have gotten a 4th and 5th round pick for Khalil and Velus if we traded them in preseason? I don't know about a 4th round pick for a running back like of Khalil's like if Khalil was like a clear number 1, probably, but I think the highest you probably were going to get was probably a 5th. Maybe you could have tried to work a conditional 5th in there, but the Velus thing, that's just a clear miss by Ryan Poles, bro. That's just a clear misevaluation by Ryan Poles on that one.
Yep. That's one of them he got to take on his chin. Hey, I mean, you listen to you, and that's him being at fault. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes as leaders, we try to take the input of our subordinates who fall under us or who answer to us. And he took that gamble and listened to his coaches. We seen it in Hard Knocks. He looked over to Ian Cunningham. He's alive because he thought in that statement. Like saying it back to y'all was like, hold on, I was planning on cutting him, but y'all telling me he should stay. That's how I'm feeling after saying it right now in this moment where we are.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, Ryan Poles has made his mistakes. There's no way can we say that he is not. It's about how he learns from them. Every GM makes mistakes, and I get it. We're Bears fans, and it's magnified because this is the team that we watch, we cover, we follow day in and day out. But yeah, let's see what he does and how he learns from that. Because listen, holding on to assets too long is just as bad as letting them walk away for nothing, to be quite honest with you. And that's what happened with Velus. The moment Ryan Poles got that call, Velus should have been on his way out the fucking door.
On the real. Not even gonna lie. Looking back, hindsight is 20/20. Hey.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that one, man. Any last thoughts before we get up out of here, brother?
Hey, just make sure y'all tuned in and locked in. Hopefully, it's gonna be an eventful day. But we live on. We keep marching on and see if the Bears gonna get their ish together. They got some games left. Is City gonna be doomed? Or we gonna be smiling?
Yeah.
Either way,
it's gonna be interesting to watch, man. We'll be live either way. If the Bears make a trade, we'll go live. So look out for that. And at the bare minimum, at the end of the trade deadline at 4 p.m. trade deadline day, if something happens, we'll be live then as well. Any last thoughts, Bobby, before we get up out of here, man? I already asked you that. No, you don't have any more. We out this bitch. Love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, 773-242-9336. We're the number 1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related. We out, y'all.